We're going to kick off our A block tonight by sticking to the Afghanistan papers. That's what it's called. Interviews with some 400 people called Lessons Learned, undertaken by a special inspector general for Afghanistan reconstruction. It is the secret history, in essence, of the war that began with, well, 9/11. Why did we attack Afghanistan? For some of you who are watching me, you're too young to remember. It's that long, 18 years. Well, actually, you know what? I want to tell you something. At the beginning, it made a lot of sense. It made sense to attack Afghanistan because that's where members of al-Qaeda were hiding out. Within months, though, our mission of demolishing al-Qaeda, thanks to the fact that our military is damn good, probably the best in the world, it was fulfilled within months. So then what? Now what do we do? That, says the Inspector General's secret report that we were reading this morning, fascinating piece of journalism, is where everything started to get, quote, murky, confusing, misdirected, but, let me add, highly profitable. Joining us now is former Pentagon official Michael Maloof, who not only knows this story, but he and I have had conversations about this without this detailed report many times on this newscast. This is amazing.
I was in the Pentagon at the time.
When this was going on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I wrong? It made sense to go in. It made sense to kick the crap out of the al-Qaeda for what they did.
Yes.
But then after that, we didn't even know.
You see, Taliban at the time was running the government there.
Right.
They were protecting al-Qaeda. And we went in, and under Article 5 of NATO was the only time Article 5 has ever been implemented that allowed NATO members to go in and help us in Afghanistan to clean out al-Qaeda. And then we actually had Taliban out. But then something happened. Something happened.
What happened?
We lost focus. We then turned our attention to Iraq. By 2003, we started focusing on going after Saddam Hussein, and Afghanistan soon became known as the Forgotten War.
Let me just underscore something you just said, because if you're saying that we stopped that fight to do Iraq, but yet somehow continued that fight, let me just tell our viewers, Iraq had nothing the hell to do with the attack on 9/11. Nothing. In fact, the leader of Iraq at the time was the enemy of Osama bin Laden. So we attacked the guy who was the enemy of the guy who attacked us, right?
Yeah, there was some collaboration early on in Sudan period of time, but there was never any close working association that we had determined, contrary to what published reports said about our reporting at the time. But the reality is that we had Taliban on the run. We had established a new government there, and we began running it, but then we drifted away and began to refocus then instead on Iraq, and then Taliban began to come back slowly.
Let's get to this report, because I'm just fascinated by this. You worked in the Pentagon. How the heck does this happen, Michael? They literally were interviewed. They interviewed all these generals, right? The guys who supposedly really know what's going on the ground. And they said, we're going to have a private discussion with you. Nobody's going to know this for now, but we're going to have some questions answered. Every one of those generals said, this is a disaster. We're screwing up. We don't know what the mission is. We don't know what we're doing. Well, why would you not share that with the American people?
Well, what happened was that even though Taliban went away but began to come back, al-Qaeda never did. They'd skip on over into Pakistan, come back in. We didn't hold Pakistan's feet to the fire to do something about al-Qaeda. As a consequence, al-Qaeda came back in, and even today, they're stronger than ever in Afghanistan.
So why did we not just tell the truth and eventually get out and let Afghanistan be to its own devices? I think it has a GDP of like 1.5 billion. We could have written them a check.
We started going, well, then it would have been lost anyway because of corruption. The government there that we instituted there, totally corrupt, has been for years. And the USAID guy, who was very critical of the aid going under USAID, said it goes into Afghanistan, we can't account for it. Billions and billions and billions of dollars they couldn't account for.
So after 18 years, all we have to show for is a corrupt government that we set up?
Yes, and it's faltering. And why haven't we been able to train these forces all these years that we've been there. The other problem
I'm getting
is
a wrap, but go ahead, finish.
the other problem is we've never distinguished who the enemy really was in Afghanistan. Was it Taliban or Al Qaeda?
I could go on for an hour.
yeah.
This discussion, it's important. We should do a special on this. Thanks so much.